Have you seen all the stuff about the Gen Z stare?
Have you seen any of this discourse about the Gen Z stare?
As an older Gen Z, the Gen Z stare.
The Gen Z stare is...
The Gen Z stare shit is fucking frying me.
I made a video earlier about the Gen Z stare, and I thought it was like how they awkwardly pause before they answer a question, which I do too. But y'all corrected me that you're actually referring to when you say something to a Gen Z person, like, hey, how are you? Or something like that, and they just don't respond, and they just look at you.
Hi, welcome to this establishment. How can I help you?
Well, grab a drink or your favorite treat because they are talking about us again. And by us, I mean Gen Z. And by them, I mean anybody who is not Gen Z. What is the Gen Z stare? What does it look like? And what does it mean?
Like, let's be serious. This is not about entitlement. They do not have the social skills because society has not prepared them. What I think is so funny about this conversation about the Gen Z stare is that everybody's trying to make it like a conversation of like one issue. This lack of social skills and not being properly socialized is like a compounded issue. It's a combination of there being a lack of children's programming, like That's So Raven, Lizzie McGuire, all these things that will let us watch social scenarios happen. Let us discuss amongst ourselves, our age mates, how we would handle those social interactions. They don't get that. They don't get to see Raven be bullied by her manager, right? There's no TV show to do that. They don't get to see what happens when you steal with the 5-finger discount. They don't even get to see kids having their first job. They do not get to witness these things until they're in it. They don't know what to do because they've never seen this before. Parents have been priced out of socializing their kids amongst other kids away from their families, like summer camps. You can't even send your kid to the goddamn Girl Scouts and let them go camping overnight because you can't even afford to do it. So now the kids don't know how to tie their shoes. They don't know how to make a knot. They don't know how to sew. They don't know how to paste. They don't have good fine motor skills. Like, they don't know how to build a fire. They don't know how to do anything. They don't know how to have social scenarios outside of adults.
And then the lack of third spaces of it all. You have to have places where you can go, not a job, not school, where there's rules, expectations, and often a uniform, but somewhere where you can go, chill, be with your peers, hang out, see people over there doing things, interacting, buying a soda for less than $7. I'll put a video in here where I talked about this a couple years ago.
Today they're talking about the impact of technology in teens, and I just feel like they're kind of missing the point. 10 years ago, we talked on the phone, drove cars, watched movies, went to parties, and so on. My children's social rhythms look much different. And they're talking about how the time that teenagers spend together has significantly decreased, and when they are spending time together, they're just spending that time on their phones. Solutions! Teens just need to learn to put their phones away. They need to charge their phones outside of their bedrooms. Boom. Social problem solved. The point I think that we're missing here is the impact that capitalism is having on teenagers today. Because my gym is literally my only third space. Outside of work and home, there's not really any other space where people just go to like hang out. Once upon a time when my parents were my age in their 20s, they would hang out at the roller skating rink. They would hang out at the arcade. They would hang out at the local restaurant and just spend hours, and within that span of hours they would spend maybe $5 or $10 doing that activity, getting a beverage, and then they would call it a night. For teenagers today, if you want to go to a place like Dave & Buster's or whatever, you have to spend a minimum of $50 to $100. This conversation, I think, as we are expressing concern about teenagers and their lack of socialization, their increase in loneliness, their increase in depression, we also have to think about what is the structure we are creating for them so that they are able to learn how to socialize and be social without it being gatekept. A lot of kids cannot afford to spend $50 every Saturday.
It's not by accident, which again, capitalist driven.
There also are not children's places to go. Like, there's not stores. There's not limited to. They don't get to go and have their own kids experience amongst other kids and have their first social interactions with older teenagers and adults in the mall. They don't get to do that anymore. They don't get to learn how to use their debit card in front of their age mate. COVID tore them kids' social skills down to the ground. I'm not playing. Imagine graduating high school in your bedroom. Your prom is canceled. You can't, all of those things where you learn how to do things for the first time, you don't get to do. Prom is the first time a lot of people are in a formal setting where they have a formal dinner, where they dance, where they have gowns and heels. That's why girls can't walk in heels. They didn't have prom. And for a lot of guys, that's the first time they're gonna wear a tux, know what it's supposed to feel like, what dress shoes are supposed to feel like.
Getting a boutonniere, getting the corsage. That's the only time in my life where that has ever happened, was at prom. I'm going to a black tie optional wedding this fall. Maybe that'll be the next time, but that is 12 years later.
You ask someone to go somewhere with you. How are you supposed to carry about a date? they don't even get that opportunity to do that. They also don't even know how to work at a job. They don't know how to show up to a job interview. A lot of them, their first job interviews, they were able to wear a button-up and sweatpants. That's why you have people getting on here in Aloe shorts asking you what was wrong with what they wore to their first day of work. So now they're out here with us, people who have social skills, who are socialized properly for the most part, and they literally do not know what to do. That's why they're talking about, when you call me, why do I have to say hello? Because that's how the fucking phone works.
Hi, welcome to this establishment. How can I help you?
Hi.
It's not ridiculous responses to ridiculous questions. It's just responses to initial greetings.
The younger person is minding their business, enjoying their book on their little vacay, and adult is like, hey. And the person who's like minding their own business is like, yeah. Is that the Gen Z stare? Let me know.
I bet y'all immediately were like, actually, we're smarter than everybody else.
Pause. Is that the insinuation that people of a certain age are not responding to adults in the way that they want to be responded to, therefore they must think that they are the best thing out there, the best thing since sliced bread? Is that the case? Because I seem to remember boomers saying this about millennials. Clock it, millennials. If you're calling out young people for the Gen Z stare, are you becoming your mother? Last time I checked, millennials really did not like being lumped and told that because they're young, they do X, Y, Z, and yet here we are. Oh well, the tide tables tumble. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kobe, the eldest Gen Z, and on this channel, we like to talk about cultural happenings, things online, and things happening in the zeitgeist. So let's get into it. It's the "why are you talking to me" stare. This creator commented and said, it's more like the "you're probably talking to someone behind me, I think. I should say something. I think they don't trust us. I don't owe you emotional labor." Ooh, heavy on it, heavy on it. Is that actually a healthy boundary? Let me know your thoughts. Someone else said, so Gen Z is reincarnated boomers. Is the Gen Z stare just the boomer stare?
I had this customer today. She came in, off the bat, boomer stare. You know, they walk in, they just stare at you like you're supposed to read their mind, you know?
So who's becoming the boomer? Is it us? Or is it those slightly older than us? Chat? Let me know. You're acting as if you were locked inside.
As someone who used to work in early childhood education, and one thing that I really noticed there is the difference in toddlers that are exposed to screen time versus the ones that don't really have that much screen time. And it's not like a black and white yes or no thing. It's a spectrum of what screen time can be in your family. But one thing I noticed is that children who spent a lot of time looking at an iPad or a TV, they didn't really understand that talking is like a two-way streak. Like, I would talk at them and they would just look at me. And this is like 1 and 2 year olds I'm talking about. Or they would talk at me, and if I responded, they were like they seemed kind of uncomfortable with it. And kids that had not really been exposed to screen time that much would have a back and forth. At that stage where they're not talking, they're just making sounds, those toddlers who had screen time didn't want me to make a sound back to them. And the toddlers who had not had screen time did. And I feel like now we're seeing the teenage version of this. Because if you think about social development and brain development, if you as a toddler are spending a lot of time on an iPad watching TV, you learn that no matter what you say or do, it has no impact on what's coming back to you. And I think that the whole iPad kid and all of this is just a symptom of capitalism. And I don't want to be like, oh, the Gen Z stares because they're always on that phone. They're always on that iPad. But it's not the iPad.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Why do you act like that?
Quick.
Yeah, I wish that. Sorry.
I got charged for this month, and I need a refund immediately.
I'm so sorry. Did you cancel beforehand or give us a call or email or anything?
No, but me and my son haven't attended any classes for a couple of weeks, so we shouldn't have to pay anything.
Okay. Unless you've canceled or given us a heads up that you're canceling, there's so many kids on our roster.
Do you not hear what I'm saying? I haven't been in classes for the past month, but you still charge me.
Okay. I'll cancel your membership immediately, so there'll be no more extra charges, but I can't guarantee that you can get the refund. I'll talk to my boss to see what I can do, but Like,
I better see that refund soon.
okay. Have a good one.
How would you react or respond in that interaction? That man knows that he is coming up to her with a tone like that, wanting to control the conversation, control the outcome of the conversation. I feel like she was effectively communicating in that scenario. As we saw, whatever she said, if she wasn't giving him what he wanted, he wasn't listening to that. Because I am walking up to her speaking like that, I should be prepared for whatever kind of response I get back. Whether it is fight, flight, or freeze. She listened. She was processing his request, figuring out how to respond effectively in a customer service oriented manner. What else is there to ask for?
I'm still not understanding, like, why you can't just waive the late fee. I pay you right now, and I just be along my way.
So that's what I was trying to explain. I'm so sorry. So the reason why we can't waive the late fees per your lease agreement and per the policy. As a courtesy, we gave you 2 waivers when we're not supposed to, but we can't keep on waiving late fees back to back, especially, you know.
But y'all get paid back to back. Y'all, yes. Right? You saying late fees back to back because you keep, I see what you're doing. Like late fee, we can't keep waiving late fees back. You get paid back to back though. Like say that part.
Do you?
It's the stare of disbelief, the stare of confusion, the stare of, what are you asking me right now? I already answered your fucking question. And per policy, knock, knock, hello? The question that you're asking is, the answer is not going to change. I have had interactions in my profession with people who are older than me, but I am the person who, like, intermediary between what they need. Fully come in, close my office door, lean onto my desk and try to talk to me a certain way. That's ridiculous. No. And if we know anything about us as the younger generation, as the younger generation's coming up, we're not putting up with your bullshit. You don't get to talk to us any kind of way that you want. I don't give a shit about who stepped on your toe. You don't get to just buck up, force your way through this world in order to get what you want. And then someone else said, yeah, girl, he talking to you like you personally charged him. Do you hear what I'm saying? Bro, do you hear what she's explaining? Exactly. Why did he approach you with that kind of energy? Gen Z stares, actually us giving them time to think about what they just did. Because a lot of people, I feel like as they get older, they forget what it's like to be younger. You forget what it's like to be new in a new environment, to try as a young professional, trying to maintain a level of decorum and professionalism and respect as the boomers and now the Gen X and the millennials want. If so much of the Gen Z stare, if you want respect, respect begets respect. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have other thoughts not shown here?
My fiance was like, have you seen all the stuff about the Gen Z stare? I was like, not really. Like, I've seen some stuff about it, but it seems to me like it's the same PR people who came up with quiet quitting. It's like, it's basically when a customer says something so fucking outlandish that you just have to stare at them in disbelief from how stupid they are. I was like, oh, I do that every single day.
And we keep coming up with these terms and wanting to point fingers, when in reality, it's like we're all stuck under the same oppressive thumb and we're all just trying to process through it and consciously or unconsciously get our way through it however we can.
Have you seen any of this discourse about the Gen Z stare?
Yes. I think that it's like Gen Z has this, there's no light behind their eyes sometimes, because especially in a work environment, because like we were like disillusioned to be like, if you come to work and you give it your best, you can climb the corporate ladder and like, we were fed this dream and it's not happening. I feel like they always knew that the dream was not happening, and they just doing it. They like, whatever. They're like, do you want chicken or no?
Yeah, they're like, I'm getting this money so I can go see Beyonce, and this is not an important, because I'll say our lie started at the beginning. Go to school and you'll get a good job.
Exactly.
And then we saw our job offers and it was like, you need 13 years experience and we're going to give you $12 an hour.
Exactly. And so that's why they looking at you like.
And some people have said like it's because they went to, COVID school on the screen. All they had to do was stare, that kind of thing. And I don't.
It doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me, but it bothers a lot of people.
It does. I work with a lot of Gen Z and I love them all.
Are the kids all right?
The kids are all right.
The things they are impassioned about, they are impassioned about. They won't give you the stare. They'll give you the fist, baby.
For real.
We can understand why the things are the way that they are. We can have understanding for that. And also, we can either get over it, have it be that way and move TF on, or we can figure out as us individuals, as members of communities, as members of professional organizations, as fellow coworkers, figure out how to bring those people into the fold.
How the Gen Z stare factors into actual tension in the workplace. Everyone's like, everyone always complains about the younger generation in the workplace. This is just how the world works. And what is also true is that Gen Z had a fundamentally different developmental environment than any generation before them, and they are now the blueprint for every generation behind. That is not a knock on them. That is evolution. It is a little bit of like, yeah, everyone's dumb at 21, and also this is specific to how we are developing our kids now. Gen Z stare reflects a broader challenge with face-to-face communication and soft skills, which are critical in customer-facing roles. And by the way, they're not just critical in customer-facing roles, they're critical in every role where you need to interact with another human. Companies are investing more in soft skill training for Gen Z employees. This is a big thing that needs to change, and everyone just like whining about it into the ether isn't working. And the bottom line is what I've been saying all along, which is we have to change the way we train. And something I say at keynotes is Gen Z is in many ways a canary in the coal mine, that our training isn't effective. Our onboardings mostly suck. The way we introduce people to a new company, to a new team, to a new environment, it's really bad. And so Gen Z sort of crashing on the shore of a workplace that was unprepared to manage them is like, okay, maybe they're not the only ones having trouble.
And I know, hearing that, there's always going to be people saying, well, that's not how it did it. I figured it out. Okay, well then I guess you want to be over in the camp that's going to sit down and shut up because this is how things are working now. Because either we figure out how to innovate and do something different, we figure out how to help re-ingratiate people into understanding what socialization looks like and how meaningful it can be to our lives. We figure out how to move the needle. So those are today's thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about the quote-unquote Gen Z stare? Do you think it's something that you do inadvertently? Is it something that you do on purpose? Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really makes a difference with helping with the growth and exposure of the channel. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for making that happen and for taking a stroll on the channel to see other videos. I'll pop some at the end here that you might be interested in. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!